Jake Smith was the only human in the galaxy who had never actually done his job. As Earth's official first contact ambassador, he had trained for years to represent humanity to new alien species. He had studied diplomacy, learned 17 different greeting protocols, and memorized the cultural customs of 43 different civilizations. But in 3 years of service, he had never once been allowed to leave his ship during a first contact mission. The problem was simple. Humans terrified everyone. The Galaxy Union had a rule that every member race must send a representative during first contact with new species. When humanity joined the Union, they eagerly agreed to this policy. What they didn't expect was that putting a human on these missions was like bringing a loaded weapon to a peace treaty. The day aliens discovered Earth, they arrived with a massive armada, expecting to find another peaceful civilization. Instead, they found a species that had weaponized atoms, conquered their own planet, and created thousands of entertainment programs about annihilating alien visitors. The aliens were so horrified, they broadcast desperate pleas across space, begging humanity not to obliterate them like in their movies. That incident became legend. Even now, humans chuckle when they watch old recordings of terrified alien diplomats. Now humans were just another member of the Galaxy Union, though everyone still considered them dangerous. And now humans were working from Galaxy Union. Ships with human crew members had to pay higher insurance costs. Most of the time, the benefits of having humans around outweighed the risks. Humans were strong, tough, and clever. But having a human ambassador on first contact missions was tricky. The point was to show new species that the Galaxy Union was friendly and safe. Having a human there was like pointing a gun at them, even if everyone knew the gun was empty. Ambassador Jake Smith had learned to make himself seem as harmless as possible during these missions. He would slouch, speak softly, and try to look non-threatening. But half the time, this just made him look like a hunting predator waiting to strike. The most effective solution was to keep Jake on the ship while the other ambassadors did the actual first contact. Then, once everything was calm, they would introduce the human from a safe distance. So Jake spent most of his time sitting in the cramped ship, playing games on his tablet, waiting for the others to finish the job he had trained his whole life to do. Today was different. The airlock burst open and all 23 other ambassadors rushed inside, panic written on their faces. "Why did we even come here?" cried Captain Vex, a 6-legged insect-like alien who commanded the ship. His antennae were shaking with fear. "They contacted us first and asked for this meeting. We have no official data about them." "This was a mistake," wheezed Dr. Blob, a water-based alien whose environmental suit was fogging up with stress. "We cannot go back there." "What happened?" Jake called out, standing up and hitting his head on the low ceiling. "What did you see?" "We cannot send the human out there," protested Captain Vex. "Not even a human would survive against those creatures. They make humans look like defenseless prey animals." Jake was shocked. Everyone knew humans were like space monsters to other species. For Captain Vex to say this new species made humans look weak was incredible. Dr. Snap, an alien with 12 eyes, handed Jake a video screen. Even while running in panic, the multi-eyed alien had managed to record what they saw. Jake prepared himself to see something terrifying, but when the screen lit up, his face broke into a huge smile. "Oh, I am definitely going out there," he declared. "Human, did my translator detect excitement in your voice?" gasped Dr. Blob. "Do not worry, I will be right back," Jake said, still grinning. It was a short walk to the meeting tent. When Jake entered, he had to crane his neck back to look up at the massive creature before him. His smile grew even wider. "This one is new," rumbled a deep voice from above, "and he is not running and screaming like the others. That is refreshing. But he is barely larger than them. Are we sure this is not just how their species shows fear?" Jake spoke up. "Sorry about my companions. They scare easily. You must admit, though, you are quite a frightening sight for creatures our size, especially without teeth, claws, or an intimidating display." "See, he is just as scared, if a bit braver," the creature said. "Oh, not at all," Jake corrected, still beaming. "I would not have missed this meeting for anything in the universe. You lack all the features you just mentioned, so why are you not afraid?" Does your species not experience fear? We do have fear, Jake answered. But you actually look remarkably similar to creatures from our stories. Really? And what do you call these creatures in your stories? Jake could not help but laugh at the amazing situation. Everyone back on Earth was going to lose their minds when this species joined the Galaxy Union. You look exactly like what we call dragons. The first contact mission was a complete success. At the formal introduction, everyone agreed that humans should be the guides for these new dragons, helping them learn about the Galaxy Union and how to interact with more fragile species. Even the human representative voted for themselves, much to everyone else's dismay. None of them could understand how humanity could be so excited to work with a species that made even humans seem weak. But after that day, no one ever questioned the need for a human ambassador again. The newest ambassador to join the first contact team was a dragon named Flame. She asked Jake about his usual routine during missions. You really just sit in here most of the time, while others handle the introductions?
Yeah, Jake answered. The last mission was different though. We met your people, and I was the only one brave enough to get near them.
Before the dragons, humans in their harsh homeworld were considered unusual. Now that there was another species like them, both were labeled as Deathworlders, species from extremely dangerous planets. That is ridiculous, protested Flame. The whole point is showing new species we are not a threat. How can we do that if we hide like predators? Jake explained his many failed attempts at different approaches. At least now I have you to talk with during the wait. Usually I just play games on my tablet, he said with a yawn. The bigger ship needed to fit the Dragon Ambassador was a welcome change from the cramped vessel they used before. When the Galaxy Union first formed, new species were only discovered once every 100 years or so. These days, with so many expanding civilizations, it happened almost yearly. If I acted like that, the others would be shrinking in terror, Flame noted. Jake chuckled. You know, I still do not understand how you humans are not afraid like the rest. Do not get me wrong, I prefer having someone normal to talk with, but it is puzzling. We call it pack bonding, Jake replied. Basically, if something does not immediately try to kill us, we try to make friends with it. Sounds like a good way to get killed, Jake shrugged. Yet here we are, and back on Earth we have tamed about half the planet. Flame shook her head in amazement. I read about your world. I cannot decide if it is more insane that you tried or that you succeeded so many times. Their conversation was interrupted when the airlock opened. Captain Vex entered with his usual nervous energy. All right, get ready you two. Remember not to smile with your teeth showing. Finally, exclaimed Dr. Blob. Captain Vex walked beside Jake as they headed out. You will like these ones. They are like humans but less threatening. Jake was surprised. For Captain Vex to be this relaxed, they really must be similar to humans. The captain stopped them halfway to the meeting building. Wait here, we will bring them outside. Jake gave Flame a reassuring pat on the shoulder. Most buildings could barely fit humans when we joined the Galaxy Union. We adapt. The structures around them did look similar to human architecture, with doors and windows at the right height for bipedal creatures. The door opened as Captain Vex returned with the new species. Flame began to smile politely, careful not to show her teeth. Jake turned to give his own best smile, but it died before it started. A chill spread through Jake's body as his heart began racing. His breathing became frantic, his skin turned pale, and he began sweating. Captain Vex was right, they did look like humans, but something was horribly wrong. Their skin was too pale and dry, their faces looked stretched, their hair was too thin and sparse, their arms were too thin and skinny, and their eyes were completely black, like empty voids. It was like seeing something from a nightmare movie. Jake had never been easily frightened, but seeing this thing in person, watching how it moved with an unnatural swaying walk, his chest not moving like it was not even breathing, every instinct screamed at him to run. Flame noticed him starting to panic. What is wrong? Are you sick? It is uncanny, was all Jake could manage. The resemblance to humans is remarkable, Captain Vex noted proudly. No, you do not understand. It is uncanny. I cannot. I have to go back to the ship. What? Why? It cannot be. Is that the human fear response? But what happened to pack bonding? I cannot pack bond with that, Jake whispered. Well, it is almost here, so pull yourself together. If you can talk to my species, you can talk to this one. The creature continued approaching when it should have stopped at a safe distance. Here he is, Captain Vex announced cheerfully. The human, practically your sibling species as described. Indeed it is, the creature said, in an eerie, sing-song voice. It is a pleasure to meet another species that shares such a close appearance to us. I am sure our peoples will get along splendidly. Do not count on it, Jake muttered grimly, sweat dripping from his forehead. Before Captain Vex could continue, Jake finally spoke up. I am sorry, but humans will not be able to interact with your species. Captain Vex seemed to notice Jake's condition for the first time. Though he had never seen a scared human before, he recognized what fear looked like. If a human was scared, he took a careful step back. Jake knew he had to explain himself. There is nothing personal against you. It is a human instinct. It is the only thing all humans fear. Something that looks very close to us, but is not us. We call it the uncanny valley. To be honest, the creature continued, you look unbearably ugly to me. I have been fighting nausea ever since I got a good look at you. I was dreading having to interact with your kind regularly. I did not think I could say anything without causing an incident. Jake was so surprised his heart rate actually slowed down. You think I am ugly? Yes. Please, would it offend you if I looked away? No, by all means, please look away. The creature turned away and covered its eyes. Both of them started breathing easier. It seems we have a mutual understanding, Jake said with a nervous laugh. Indeed. I will refrain from shaking your hand, as I dread what your visibly oily skin must feel like. No hard feelings. Your arms are way too long for my liking anyway. This exchange of mutual insults became another successful first contact mission, going down in history as yet another unbelievable example of human interaction. While many in the Galaxy Union could not understand why two species so similar in appearance would avoid each other, they could accept it. Jake's life was certainly going to be more challenging from now on. Maybe someday he would get used to the new ambassador's appearance, but until then, it would certainly make for interesting first contact missions. The question of whether humans were really necessary on first contact missions had been answered once and for all. Yes, they were absolutely essential, even if sometimes in the most unexpected ways.